context. You have to convey value to the reader, and that starts by asking, what is the value in my content? And again, sometimes that requires a hard reality of going back to either the people who created it or the people who greenlit it and saying, like, asking that question, what is the value to anyone else? We know the value to us as a company. We know the value to the people who pitch this story to us. If you're a journalist, what's the value in the content for everyone else? You want to highlight how reading this, consuming this content, whatever it is, will make you feel smarter, inspired, more effective at your job or at whatever it is you do. That said, it's really easy when you're thinking about, oh, this article is going to make you more informed, and then to just give them the bowl of dry oatmeal, right? It is, it's, if you take it too far, if you take away entertainment, if you take away engagement, and you just try to be informative, like even scientific journals don't write headlines like this anymore. You've got to give people a little hook that makes it feel like, oh, I see what they did there. That's really clever. I'm going to like try to learn more versus just like eat your damn oatmeal. So to me, the key is just being conversational. I will quickly go off on a minor tangent about internet lingo. And I'm in my mid 40s, so I'm long past being relevant in any way whatsoever. But I will say that it is so tempting to use internet lingo in headlines, in social content, of course. But like, and especially if you are a person who unironically uses that language in your day-to-day life, it can be good, but it also, nothing changes faster than internet lingo. And as we all know, whatever is like the expression everyone uses right now, a year from now will just be cringy. Apologies if cringy is already cringy. But like, it's not going to age well. That's okay if you expect this content to only live within this fleeting moment, the equivalent of like an Insta story or whatever. But if you want this content to stick around and be somewhat evergreen, then you got to be mindful of like, what internet lingo am I using in here, and do I really think people are going to be using this phrase, this expression a year from now? Because it is hilarious to go back and look at content even from the early 2000s, when this really became a key aspect of headline writing, thanks to your BuzzFeeds and Gawkers. And man, some of it's embarrassing. But it worked in the moment. It just takes away some of your timeliness. That said, certain aspects of conversationality are evergreen. I'm just going to quickly shout out a lot of the examples we're going to look at today are either my own or from Adweek, because I was in the I was in the sausage factory of how those headlines got made, and so I can answer questions about them. I know like what was the challenge, what were we trying to accomplish with those headlines. I wanted to quickly give a shout out to the Washington Post, which I think has just mastered this art of conversationally educational headlines, especially for whatever reason when it involves animals. Part of me thinks that this Alyssa Fowers, who I don't know, but who is one of the writers here, seems to be a recurring element of like the high quality of these things. But which birds are the biggest jerks at the feeder? A massive data analysis reveals the answers. I just love the phrase biggest jerks when you're talking about animals, because we all know exactly what that means, whether you're a big bird person or not. But this is not an article about what, if it were BuzzFeed, it'd be like 5 jerk moves or 47 jerk moves that birds do. No, this is an article about why do birds behave the way they do? Why are some super aggressive? Why do some get along and others don't? Does that really apply to your everyday life? I don't know. If you have a bird feeder, it might. Like, I mean, I'm such a dork. I have one of these AI cameras that identifies the bird. I should really stop talking about what a nerd I am. But like, I loved this article, and it was just such a great way to introduce it, of like biggest jerks. It's just great packaging. And of course, like one of the real hallmarks of the Washington Post's animal coverage every year is their coverage of Fat Bear Week, which is the national park that does this every year, is just puts it up for vote. They started doing this because fans just loved the content of these pictures of these bears getting ready for hibernation. And it turned into Fat Bear Week, and the Washington Post started covering it. I'm sure other outlets have covered it too. But man, they just do such great content. And you could have asked me 2 years ago, like, hey, are you really curious about fat bears? And I would have been like, no,